Hi, I'm Jody from Sportsmith's Tech Support Team, and this video will demonstrate how to check and troubleshoot the speed sensor system on your Bowflex Max Trainer. We begin here with the shrouds removed for clarity. If you need help getting the shrouds off, check out our support site at support.sportsmith.com. The speed sensor is here, and the magnets are these gray plastic posts here. There are 4 total on your Max Trainer. Any one of them being gone could cause you issues with the speed system. The first thing I always look for is the presence of the magnet. Next, I would look at the proximity of the speed sensor to the magnet as the magnet is passing the end of the speed sensor. Erratic readings from your speed sensor could be caused by the sensor being too far from the magnet. As you can see here, it's relatively close, but if you have any issues, you can loosen it and push it closer to the magnet as it passes by. If you're still having problems after these tests, you would want to unplug and test with a multimeter next. So now I've moved the camera around to where you can see the speed sensor's connection come up and connect to the main wiring harness. That's this connection, black and white from the speed sensor and orange and gray from the main cable. Go ahead and disconnect that. And now you have the end of the speed sensor harness. I've got a couple of short leads here with alligator clips that make it a little bit easier to connect to that speed sensor connector. So what I'm going to do is put one clip on each side of this connector to isolate each conductor. It is a really small connector, so you'll want to be sure that they're not shorted out. Something like that. To be able to get a good connection on this connector to our voltmeter, I had to actually use a couple of short pieces of wire you can see here, and then I'll take and connect my alligator clips to the other end of that wire. And that gives you a good stable connection there for the testing. So now I've got the camera set up where you can see the speed sensor, the magnet, and I've also got the end of the speed sensor connection connected to my multimeter here. My multimeter is set to ohms, and right now it's open because the magnet is not in front. Now if I roll this flywheel around to where the magnet is in front, once the magnet is in front of the sensor, the resistance will change to 0. Meaning the speed sensor is picking up the signal. When I move the magnet away, it will go to open again. That means that your reed switch is operating correctly. Again, I'll put this one close, goes to 0, I move it away, it's gone. That means your speed sensor is working correctly all the way to the end of the connector. So your next test would be to test at the end of the wire harness. So to be able to test at the end of our harness, we'll go ahead and disconnect our jumpers and plug the speed sensor back into the harness here. Make sure you isolate those wires with a zip tie or something so that they're not interfering with these revolving parts during the rest of the test. Now as you can see, I've removed the console and I have the console wiring harness here with the orange and gray wires connected to my voltmeter via these 2 small wires here. My voltmeter is set on ohms. It's open right now because the magnet is not in front of the sensor. Now I will move the magnet in front of the sensor. Once the magnet is in front of the sensor, the resistance will change to 0. Once I move it away, it goes back to open. This proves your sensor and the wiring harness pins for speed signal from the sensor to the console are good, leaving only the console or the connection to the console as the fault. So check that connection well before replacing the console. This concludes the demonstration.